This is going to be to bring answers back at the Wednesday meeting, right?
Well, yeah, but I just, maybe while we're here, I'd like to understand.
We're not going to discuss the budget tonight. We're only going to send Dr. Conway with questions tonight.
Okay, then the question is, the $3,500,000, could she please clarify where on the yellow pages it differs from the blue?
I am updating the PowerPoint. 4 slides have been updated for you for Wednesday night as well.
Other items that you'd like to have clarification for on Wednesday?
Well, yeah, I didn't understand the answer.
She's going to bring those answers on Wednesday. She's documenting them all right now. The questions. She's documenting the questions, and she's going to bring answers to the budget discussion on Wednesday.
Okay, but could you just help me out here? It would be easier to find if Dr. Conway could just direct us to where, other than the first page, we could find the major changes on the yellow sheets.
There are highlights. There should be highlights. There were on mine in different pages for all day K. In the 5 elementary schools, you'll find 2 lines, one for staff and one for supplies. They would be in the blue pages as well if you looked in the schools that I had originally put all day K in, Northeast School and Maple Street. You'd be able to find that. Extended.
Oh, they're on the white pages?
Yes, I apologize. They're on the white pages highlighted. There would be, you'd find 1 line highlighted. And the longer school day, because that's all, you know, all salaries. That is in the contingency line item.
Okay.
In the central office, it would be, but also on the in the blue summary, the yellow summary pages, it would be the last item on page 7.
So I won't have to go compare all the other numbers looking for changes.
Correct.
They're simply contained in the highlighted pieces.
That is correct.
Thank you very much.
I don't think the contingency line item is highlighted, but it's right at the end.
Okay. Good.
Ms. Goldich, you had your hand up.
Yes. Are any salary savings from the retirements reflected in the replacement pages?
They were in the blue pages.
They were already
in the blue pages. Yes, you'll see it says open, retire, and it would be put in, I want to say 53,000. MA3 is what we put it in as. So they're already in there.
Other items that we want clarification for our next time. If you come, Mr. Kevin.
In the salary numbers that you have in the blue pages, and maybe on the yellow pages now, is there any inclusion there of your plans to allow for staffing adjustments that are evident in the actual enrollment projections?
There's no change in staff. We're not adding staff in this budget in terms of enrollment.
Are you decreasing any
No.
in terms of enrollment?
No.
Okay, then we'll wait till
Wednesday
to talk about that.
Other items. Okay, if anybody had, Mr. Picaro.
I made through you, Mr. Chairman. Just, Mr. Kent, other areas to look as a follow-up to Dr. Conway's comment about the all-day kindergarten would be medical insurance, dental insurance, and payroll tax line items as well.
Thank you for that clarification. Were there any adjustments made in transportation, or should we be looking there as well?
Not at this point in time.
Thank you. If anybody has any additional questions, please email them to Dr. Conway, and she'll try and have those answers for us on Wednesday evening. And I do want to just let you all know that, you know, at our first budget hearing, we did hear a request regarding trying to get some information on magnet schools, you know, why people are leaving. And I've talked with Dr. Conway, and we're putting together a plan for doing some type of a special meeting and a survey so that we can ask those questions. And so there'll be more information coming out on that sometime. Hopefully in the next month we'll have that information to you. So just wanted to give you a heads up that we are pursuing that, so it's a good recommendation. Moving on from item 6.4 to item 6.5, Board of Education Technology Committee report. I'm going to go to this item 6.6, which is the Board of Education Finance Committee report. I'm going to go Ms. Fisher on this, and we are going to be looking for a couple motions from this committee.
Well, actually, I'd probably like to turn it over to Mr. Ricardo to give a summary of what he told us about it.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Through you, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Conway says from time to time the helicopter view, I've been given 10 minutes, so I'm going for the jetliner review on this, but I'll be glad to follow up in detail with anyone through the superintendent with any information and requests that you may have. We'll start, bring your attention to the business and finance report. Everyone should have the packet handout. Start with budget summary and referencing exhibits A, B, and C. At this point in time, $43,270,021, or 89.8% of our $48 million budget has been obligated, with approximately $4.9 million or 10.2% available. Our actual expenditures at this point in time, actually as of January 10th, are $20.8 million or 43.4%. In comparison to last fiscal year at this time, $19.1 million was expended, $24.8 million was encumbered, and $3.4 million in change, or 7.3%, was available. Difference between last year and this year in regards to the availability of funds is directly related to us this year moving forward with burning through our encumbrances from the prior fiscal year in a much more efficient manner than we have in prior fiscal years. There is a budget amendment request, which we're requesting through the Finance Committee for the board to take action on. If you can look at Exhibit B, please. And that is a transfer of funds in the amount of $149,798.13 for salaries and payroll taxes from existing accounts within the Board of Education budget to Central Admin Information Systems account, which ultimately will fund our Town of Vernon Data Processing Enterprise Fund. These are specifically for our 3 employees that were transferred to the new Town of Vernon Data Processing Center. That requires board action for the transfer to occur.
Correct. And if you want to give us a moment, we'll take that action, Ms. Fisher.
I believe that the Board of Education approved the transfer of $129,798.13 for salaries and payroll taxes to the Central Admin Information Systems account for our employees that were transferred to the Town of Vernon Data Processing Center.
I have a motion to accept, Mr.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'm going to bring the motion to a vote by a show of hands. All in favor? And that motion is unanimous. Thank you. And back to you, Mr. Carl.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Board of Ed portion of the annual town audit for fiscal year 2012 has concluded. Final report will be forthcoming once the town has completed that portion of the audit, so we expect that in the next couple of months, and the results will be shared with the Finance Committee to the Board accordingly. And lastly, this is more of a reference item as we continue our budget planning process. We've included the current capital expenditure plan in your package. That's Exhibit C. We'll be looking to update that through our Facilities Committee within the next couple of weeks, and we'll be working with that group to do so and bring it back to the Board for budget purposes.
On this?
Yes, the Technology Committee met on January 2nd, and basically we reviewed the new job description for Mr. Lemoy, and you have that in your packet, and it just was needed because the job has changed and it needed to be clarified what his position is. We also looked at the technology budget and went over some of the areas that we really wanted to focus on putting the technology in the schools. We also have seen in the budget after the technology committee where he felt were the most important areas to put in the budget. that's what we basically met on. Reviewed the budget, and with our recommendations, he finalized the budget that we have now in our books.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions regarding Mr. Kent?
Thank you. Given the nature of our archaic town charter, I'm glad that the technology committee is doing the things it's doing. Would it be advisable that from time to time to have someone from the town either sit in one or two of those meetings or have us liaison with them to make sure that they're not moving in one direction with software, Munis, whatever, and we're moving along assuming that we're on the same page? That in the years past was a huge problem for us, and I don't want to revisit it again, but our charter hasn't changed.
I can answer two parts of that question for you. At the technology meeting, we actually had the representative, the new director of IT from the town was at the technology committee meeting and has attended the last, we've had representation at the last two technology meetings that we've attended. And the technology committee, which involves Dr. Conway and folks from the Board of Education, as well as the mayor and folks from the town side, meet on a regular basis to decide what's good for technology for town-wide. So that's already, and that was part of our presentation we heard last year as a board in the joint session with the town council, because it is a joint effort for the town. So I think both of those bases are being covered. Dr. Conway, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
You've said it very clearly.
I just wanted to add, the technology director for the town is Robert Segan, and he has been attending, but he's also working very closely with Mr. Lemoyne to coordinate and make sure that we are all on the same page for the technology.
Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 6.6, which is the Board of Education Finance Committee report. We'll go Ms. Fisher on this, and we are going to be looking for a couple motions from this committee.
Well, actually, I'd probably like to turn it over to Mr. Ricardo to give a summary of what he told us about it.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Through you, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Conway says from time to time the helicopter view. I've been given 10 minutes, so I'm going for the jetliner review on this, but I'll be glad to follow up in detail with anyone through the superintendent with any information and requests that you may have. We'll start, bring your attention to the business and finance report. Everyone should have the packet handout. Start with budget summary and referencing exhibits A, B, and C. At this point in time, $43,270,021, or 89.8% of our $48 million budget has been obligated, with approximately $4.9 million or 10.2% available. Our actual expenditures at this point in time, actually as of January 10th, are $20.8 million or 43.4%. In comparison to last fiscal year at this time, $19.1 million was expended, $24.8 million was encumbered, and $3.4 million change, or 7.3%, was available. Difference between last year and this year in regards to the availability of funds is directly related to us this year moving forward with burning through our encumbrances from the prior fiscal year in a much more efficient manner than we have in prior fiscal years. There is a budget amendment request, which we're requesting through the Finance Committee for the board to take action on. If you can look at Exhibit B, please. And that is a transfer of funds in the amount of $149,798.13 for salaries and payroll taxes from existing accounts within the Board of Education budget to Central Admin Information Systems account, which ultimately will fund our Town of Vernon Data Processing Enterprise Fund. These are specifically for our 3 employees that were transferred to the new Town of Vernon Data Processing Center. That requires board action for the transfer to occur.